Okay, I guess we just start top down, right? Nobody wants me to start with Claudia Segula. Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. It was just an exaggerated version of like what I thought was going to happen. I said in my video where I talked about Vinicius Oliveira that I think Mario Bautista is just going to kill him. He's just going to make him look silly, and then Vinicius Oliveira is going to die. And that is what happened. But I was joking a little bit. I was playing it up. What I thought was going to happen is that they'd have like a competitive like first round or two. Maybe Batista would just like go to the grappling really quickly, and by like 3, 4, 5, Oliveira would be gassed. Batista would just sort of like get like a pity TKO stoppage. In the same vein that I honestly thought was going to happen with Kyoji and Amir Albazi. In fact, I bet Mario Batista by finish round 3, 4, and 5. I just didn't think it was going to happen in round 2. I was like sweating. But are there any massive takeaways from that? What's crazy is that even though Vinicius Oliveira, allegedly broke his forearm, I don't know what I think about that, because if I go to like, oh, these are Batista pictures, but if I go to like Vinicius Oliveira, oops, um, this is, if you guys don't know what this is just like Getty Images. Oh my god, I'm really bad at typing. I'm sorry. Uh, it just it's Getty Images. What else am I supposed to tell you? If let's see, scroll down a little bit. They have like pictures of him getting like his arms wrapped and shit, and he seems to be doing just fine. And these are both arms. This is right before his fight. He's hitting pads. He doesn't have like a wrist strap on. I don't know. I don't. I think he may have broken his forearm in the beginning of the fight, or like his wrist or something like that. But it's hard to think from what I've seen that there was some sort of like injury cover up or anything like that. I think Batista may have just like slammed a kick into into his arms and broke his arm. And fair play to Batista. Frankly, again, kind of thought this would have happened either way, right? I don't think there's I can't really say we learned anything from Vinicius Oliveira. I really do think this would have happened either way. It was really weird to see him in round 1 just immediately go for the grappling and like push him against the cage. I get the idea of like trying to use like a supposed strength advantage or size advantage, but Batista's a big dude, like a really really big dude. Like it's kind of silly. I'm just curious, what is Mario Bautista's walk around weight? Do you think he'll say anything? Yeah, whatever. I'm not using Google AI. Yeah, this is all just talking about Vinicius Oliveira. But if you look at Mario Batista, he is shredded and he's got fucking huge arms and they're veiny as fuck. I'm just gonna say it. There's like 40% chance he's on steroids. And the only reason it's not higher is just because he doesn't really get any finishes. So he's not really like he doesn't come to mind as like a freak athlete kind of guy. But he's been putting on some freak athlete performances very recently. And dude, he looks 47. He has the exact same thing going on that Anthony Hernandez does. Anthony Hernandez, Alexander Hernandez. Oh my god, Anthony Hernandez looks like a young 32. Alexander Hernandez, however, oh my goodness, bro, this is the most flattering image of him. This is still flattering. They're actually like AIing wrinkles out of his face in these pictures. If you've seen what he looks like recently, that's like better, but that's still not enough. This is crazy. Dude, he used to be such a normal looking person, but he's like a ghoul now. he's he's like a wrinkly, he's like a very very pale like leather bag or something. He's pretty messed up. And I think it's steroids. I really do. Hold on. Come on, Alexander Hernandez. Fuck off. Oh, dude, you can just barely catch a glimpse of it in the top in the in the right side. Let me see if I can refresh. Boom. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. What? You're really not gonna let me? There we go. Look at this. This is what he really looks like when shit is not super edited. That's not how a fucking 30-year-old man should look, by the way. In case you guys thought that was normal. Um, so yeah, I think there's like non-zero chance of Batista on steroids, like higher than non-zero. Of his grappling's always been very slick. That was a very cool transition from the Kimura. I'm not really sure how he got into that position, as in like how Vinicius Oliveira decided to like just sort of stand up while giving his back to him. I get that he wanted to explode up, but that was so strange. The crucifix was awesome. Let me think. The striking wasn't particularly noteworthy. Vinicius Oliveira looked the way he always looks, and Batista just isn't super impressive on the feet. I would say that's like probably what's keeping him from being like a championship level fighter is just like when it comes to being on the feet. I don't know how he'd fare against a Sean O'Malley or a Piotr Jan or whatever, right? However, I do think he could beat Cory Sandhagen. Cory Sandhagen is a very, very solid jiu-jitsu guy, and he's decently strong. But I feel like Bautista, I feel like in a continuous scramble, Bautista would end up on top because I think he's just more physically imposing. And Cory Sandhagen's game, while he has implemented a lot more wrestling, originally his use of jiu-jitsu was always like jiu-jitsu to get up, right? You like dive for a leg so they stop punching you in the face, or like so they stop like camping full guard, and then you immediately like kick off and try to get up. Right, you'd see it against like he did Dillashaw or whatever. And he would like, oh my god, what if he commits to a leg lock on Batista? I don't see Batista getting caught in those positions. And we saw that while Cory Sandhagen was able to defensively wrestle really well against Umar Nurmagomedov, potentially you could argue better than Batista was able to. Maybe. It's been a while since I've seen that fight. I feel like Batista is just so much more of a threat on the ground, which would keep Cory Sandhagen from maybe like being able to explode back up, right? Cory Sandhagen's jiu-jitsu can look slick as hell when it's against Sang Yadong or Piotr Jan or Marab or I was hoping another wrestler that he fought would come to mind. But right, guys that don't really have a submission threat, not a serious one. On the striking, I feel like it's Cory Sandhagen's fight to win, but something about momentum, something about Cory Sandhagen being like 36 or 37 now. He's no way he's 36. I pulled that out of my ass, right? He's got to be like 35. Hillary Sand Hagen. He's 33. Oh my god, this dude is so fucked. I really love him, by the way. Cory Sandhagen, if he isn't like in my top 5 favorite fighters anymore, he was for many years. Um, because he just keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Oh no. Oh, he's kind of a oh, I can't tell if he's declining. It's really hard. It's so weird because bantamweight is so competitive. Anyways, I don't want to get into this forever. It's something it's a conclusion I'll come to if they do end up rematching. But I think I would favor Mario Batista due to momentum, strength, maybe more of a recently seen submission threat. Kyoji Horiguchi versus Mira Albazi was beautiful. Oh my god. Um, by the start of the first round, like first 2 exchanges, I was like, oh my god, this is Amir Albazi's gonna get like TKO'd. I was envisioning Amir Albazi just like covered in blood, and he's like punching, but like Kyoji just doesn't stop teeing off on him, and then the ref calls the fight like in a Sean O'Malley-esque performance almost. But Amir stayed in there, and dude, his corner just made me sad. Like hearing his corner, that other dude who might be like a family member or something, just be like do this for your life, brother, or whatever. And then like Amir would try to like grit down, and they're like, yes, yes, and then Horiguchi just pops out and just fucking domes him. Tragic. Kyoji's so good, and he's so fast, and he's so nimble for 35-year-old and for anybody, right? It's not just, oh, he's so good for a 35-year-old. He's so good for a 35-year-old and also for anybody else. He's like, is there a more mobile flyweight than him? Before I like say something crazy, is he like the most like nimble flyweight? That is so ass of them. But I mean, Manel Cap is nimble. Oh my god, he might be. Wow, nobody's coming to mind that's like as impressively, at least on the feet wise, like that fast. Even like Pantoja can pull like a really quick scramble or whatever because it's also like muscle memory. But for Kyoji just to just dance around people is very very impressive. Do we learn anything? I think we learned that Kyoji's he can handle the wrestling, right? I think against Tagir, even though yes, we saw him defend takedowns against Tagir, that was like Tagir looked off. Not that he ever looks particularly normal looking, but he looked off. um, he has he has like really rough weight cuts, and that one seemed to not go well at all. And then like by the third leg kick, Tagir was like crumpling and falling over, and so like Kyoji taking him down wasn't like the biggest deal in the world, but he looked really good in the wrestling against Samir Albazi. I was worried at times, like, oh my god, is Amir just gonna be able to hold this guy up against the fence? But when he was holding Kyoji up against the fence, he wasn't really able to do much at all. The thing is, I don't think we learned anything about Amir. I think we already knew he wasn't very good, to be honest. Look at his run in the UFC. It's Malcolm Gordon, who brother. 14-8, 2-5 in the UFC. Lost to Jimmy Flick, lost to Jake Hadley, and lost to Jake Hadley and Jimmy Flick, and he missed weight both of those times. That's I'm not even trying to be mean, but that's really just sad. Um, and then oh god, who does he fight next? Zalgas Magilov. I never saw this fight, to be honest. For all I know, it was a robbery. I mean, Zalgas has faced a lot of those, but even then, Zalgas is just another one of those flyweights who's like good, but so unable to impose any kind of game on somebody that it's like, if you are decent, you will beat him. Francisco Figueiredo, one of the worst flyweights of all time. Alessandro Costa came in on short notice, did Alessandro Costa, and is 2-3 in the UFC with a loss to Alden Correa, who I've never heard of in my entire life. Funny looking guy. And then who does he beat after that? Kai Kara France by split decision. That was just a total robbery, and we're kind of seeing Kai Kara France's like limit a little bit. Honestly, dude, let's go back, right? Kai Kara France beat Steve Urseg. That was good. Urseg is a bit of a strange character. It's hard to make reads on him. Askarov was a really good performance from Kai, but all these other ones were never like that impressive. Beating Tyson Nam, eh. Beating Cody Garbrandt, not impressive whatsoever. He's a flyweight. This is like the Dan Hooker moving back down the featherweight situation, right? It doesn't mean anything. And then Rosario Bontorin. I mean, if he didn't clip Bontorin there, Bontorin may have just subbed him. Not that Bontorin is like the greatest dude on earth, but like he's decent. And frankly, probably a better like grappler than Albazi. No, I don't mean that. I couldn't mean that. But Albazi was just a guy who he's very much like Bilal Muhammad, right? His boxing is rough looking. He doesn't kick, but he will go forward and he will like do his best to like impose like his wrestling on you. A lot of strength based takedowns, big ball of muscle, great chin. But the problem is if you don't have crazy power, which he doesn't, and by crazy power I mean power at all, which I don't think he has much power, unless he learned really good boxing for him. Until that happens, not much power, right? Not the not like a slick instant submission threat. He's not, Jakub Wiklach, right? So what does somebody like Amir Albazi do if he's down 2 rounds? Kind of just nothing. Kyoji Horiguchi styles on him for 2 rounds. Kyoji could have pulled guard at the start of round 3 and won. Because he won all 3 rounds. Somebody was trying to give Amir Albazi, I believe, the second round? Or no, the first. Because that was not a drop. Like, Amir did not drop Kyoji. That was just punched him while he was walking backwards. You can tell he didn't drop him because Kyoji gave 0 reaction to any other punch in that entire fight. It was just, he just slipped. Right, so that was a pretty strong 3-0 for Kyoji. I think he looks very, very good. He's very funny. I fucking love this dude. Oh my god, he's like adorable. I would love to see him against Joshua Van. I think he is a nightmare matchup for Joshua Van. I genuinely think Kyoji Horiguchi would do bad things to him. It would look like this Amir Albazi fight because Joshua Van has a lot of cool things. He's like not a bad cage cutter, but that's against people who like walk along the fence, right? You can look like an awesome cage cutter against Felipe Boons or Edgar Shirez or yada yada. I think someone like Kyoji, who never gets in extended exchanges, Joshua Van is never a dude who wins off the first punch, right? He wins off the 7th. There's no way in hell he's landing combinations on Kyoji Horiguchi. I just don't think that okay. This is the world in which Joshua Van could win. So the way Justin Gaethje beat Rafael Fiziev is because Fiziev had a bit of a game that we didn't see until his fight with Bahamondes, where we saw that Fiziev is actually really likes being able to dart around, right? He seems so stationary a lot of the time, but he really does enjoy being able to like dart around in the circle and just like jab and low kick and MMA strike, right? But what Gaethje was doing is every time Fiziev would want to do his ideal scenario, which is to like jump in, throw a combination, jump out. He would jump in, try to throw a combination, but Gaethje would just collar tie him, right? And you can't jump out when you get collar tied. So ideally, if Van or whoever else fights Kyoji Horiguchi next wants to beat Kyoji, it's 2 things. One, you, while marching him down, throw leg kicks, right? So like, it's just gonna be really fucking hard to check when you're like trying to strafe away. So you walk at him, throw a bunch of bullshit punches, and then you just end with like a really hard leg kick, ideally to the trailing leg, right? So not his lead leg. You want to kick the leg that's in the back. That would really fuck up his balance. And the other thing is you play really patient because unfortunately that's just the thing that works best against counter strikers in general, but especially like karate counter strikers, is that you wait for them to throw because they're awkward with it. And we saw that when Kyoji had to go first. A little limited, but not in a bad way. I'll get to it. right? But the idea is that you make them go forwards into you whenever you're not doing your like blitz slow kick strategy, right? You make them come to you, and then you just collar tie or you clinch them up in some way. You just force them to keep the exchange as long as possible. And in a world like that, I think if Joshua Van could do a lot of work to the body by just like dipping body jabs, like lead hooks to the body, uh, and like catching Kyoji Horiguchi when he's like coming in, trying to time him. It's just like that's not Joshua Van. It's just not his game, right? The best thing he could do is like clinch, try to just clinch fight with him, and then just put pressure on him and just nonstop. But like his legs would get chewed up. His like, I think Kyoji would really fuck him up. Let's see. Kyoji Horiguchi went by the nickname the Karate Kid in honor of Kid Yamamoto, who was a very underrated and very awesome UFC fighter and Ryzen fighter as well. I know he fought in Pride, not Prada. What the fuck am I saying? And he had dope ass shorts in the UFC. Oh my god, I'm gonna pull these up. Hello. Oh my god, my lips are gone. Hello. Oh my god. Am I? Hello. Kid Yamamoto. Bro, bro, those shorts. Holy shit. Genuinely. Oh my god, on these tats. I just don't think. I don't think you understand how much aura this guy has. Dude died at 41. Fuck. How did he go? Wow. Yeah, well, he did fight in Resin. Diagnosed in 2016, hid it from the public until 2018, where his father flew him to Guam to receive treatment for terminal cancer. Dude, this guy must have had some crazy brain damage. Something about the situation. I don't know why. Something about like the way this is like phrased. I feel like this dude must have been having a really rough time. And he fought a lot when he was like pretty young, right? That's why he was called like the Fireball Kid or whatever. And he got in a lot of wars. Probably really fucked up. Had a terrible, slow, tragic death. So great for Kyoji to commemorate him. I love when fighters do shit like that. It's I don't think you realize how quickly some people are just like completely forgotten, right? Um, a guy like Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is to me awesome. I love this dude. I think his personality is great, but he'll never be a star, just realistically. And when he retires, he will never be mentioned again in a year, except for like really niche guys on Twitter or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like to some degree, if you want to be maybe if you want to be a good person, maybe or like a good fan of the sport, right? A good representative of the sport or whatever. Um, do the best you can to talk about these these other guys, right? These other fighters. And I don't mean like, oh, you have to be really niche or whatever. But I mean there are people who live their entire lives with the goal of like being remembered, and a good 90% of those people should probably be remembered way more than someone like John Jones. So I think that was awesome. Kyoji versus Pantoja. That's a weird one. Pantoja arm break. Well, fuck. Oh my god. I don't want to talk about that injury. Whatever I say is probably gonna be wrong. But he's getting older, Pantoja. Not that he's been slowing down necessarily, but he's got like the insane cardio dips in between rounds where he's like taking so many stall rounds and stuff. We did see that bum rushing him works really well though. Like bum rushing Kyoji seems to work really well. So I don't know. I think Kyoji versus Pantoja would be very competitive and interesting. Now, Rizvan Kuniev versus Jailton Almeida. I was clapping like a seal. Oh my god, this was so great. I enjoyed that. This was my favorite fight of the card. Wait, am I serious? This one? Oh my god, this actually was my favorite fight on the card. I really liked seeing Jailton Almeida get stalled. The idea of Jailton Almeida struggling because someone else is holding him up against the fence, especially Rizvan Kuniev, who's like a striker allegedly. It's just hilarious to me. Rizvan, I think he's a very good striker, even if he doesn't show it. It's just you see looks that he gives, and you're like, oh, this guy like kind of gets it, right? You see him like he'll just do whatever, and then he'll just sort of like show an uppercut, but it's like a real uppercut, right? It's I don't know, something about it is just very like, oh, this guy gets it. The problem is he um he knows too much, and he is very aware that he will gas if he throws more than 5 punches in a fight, so he just doesn't throw 5 punches in a fight. God damn, if he could just get cardio, he'd be so good. I don't think you guys know how good this guy would be. I expected Wait. Let me go through what I thought was going to happen. I thought Mario was going to run through Oliveira, but a little bit later. I thought Kyoji was going to tee up on Emerald exactly like this happened. I thought Jelton Almeida was going to run through Rizvan Kuniev in the first round, or he was going to gas out and Kuniev was going to finish him with body shots. But I was pretty. I probably would have said like 65% chance, maybe 70% chance Almeida just round one finishes him, because it's a whole different style of wrestling than Curtis Blades. It's just that Almeida didn't fucking shoot. Oh my god, he was so bad. I hate this dude. It's so funny because I root for almost everyone. Like I genuinely root for for almost every fighter. I was rooting for Aaron Chow like when he was like like missing weight by like 9 pounds or whatever, and was like trying to balance his elbow in the box. I was like, yeah, you fucking go, dude. Because it's like, bro, this guy's making like 8,000 for 8,000 per fight. He's broke as fuck. Why the fuck is he held to like the same standards of like competition and making weight as like a dude who's like 50 for 50 or 100 for 100 on his contract? I get it that well, if somebody else can make it, then he can too. But I would have let the fight go on. I don't even fucking care about Aaron Tao. But I kind of like guys that fucking cheat or just stall against the cage, because it's like, dude, this sport is fucking hard. Everybody's mean as fuck, and nobody will remember you ever. So like, what's the point in like trying to make a name for yourself and going out on your shield like a man for what? So you get brought back one more time by the UFC after you go 0-4, so you can get starched one more time and then forget your kids' names by the time you're 35. Like, so, like in a way, like dude, Jailton Almeida's doing the best thing he could possibly be doing, which is fighting a lot. Doing his dream or whatever of fighting. A career that like he's specifically capable of doing. Um, Moving up to heavyweight so that way he gets to fight fat pieces of shit, and then he just sits on them, and that's kind of awesome. He's not really getting that much brain damage. Like I get it, it's not fun to watch, but dude, like yes, it's an entertainment sport. I will totally be a hypocrite about this. Not even a week from now, I will be a hypocrite about this like 20 minutes from now, probably. But conceptually, get your bag. The issue the issue is that it wouldn't be that much harder. Like the thing is, if you can sit in full mount on someone for 23 minutes, you're not really risking much by going for a fucking Ezekiel choke or an arm triangle or a Kimura or a straight arm lock or a scarfold choke or an executioner or a Ruotolotine or a mounted guillotine or a paper cutter or a cigar slicer or a fucking it's not that hard, right? Like we know who Derek Lewis is. Ugh, my headset just like did the power off thing. It scared me. But like we know who Derek Lewis is. We know at any point in that fight, Jelson Almeida could have just gone for a mounted fucking triangle and gotten it. So like the dude's got some kind of like mental block. I think, right? That's the only excuse. His cardio looked good. His power looked good. His boxing didn't look half bad. Part of it is that Rizvan just doesn't do anything. God damn it, Rizvan, you're funny to me. Rizvan has aura, even though he's stalling and he's boring, because he's not Ankalaev. If Ankalaev was a fat dude, you have no idea how much fucking aura he would have. No, genuinely imagine Ankalaev isn't shredded or like, in good shape for 205. He's just a big fucking fat bowl of lard, but he still does all the exact same shit. That'd be hilarious. That'd be awesome. I think Rizvan is the third best striker at heavyweight. I do think that. The issue is that he has maybe the third worst cardio at heavyweight. If you gave him really good cardio, we would see a top 3, top 2 striker even. Wow, brave of me. But we will never see that. So it doesn't even matter why I'm talking about it. For 5 seconds of a 15-minute fight, this guy's an elite striker. I'm mad at you. Okay. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Marc-Andre Barrio. So, I thought Oleksiejczuk was going to sleep Barrio in the first round. In my eyes, Barrio is done. His chin is done, and he's on the way out, and he knows it. And the UFC set this up, and I just feel like when you know the UFC is setting you up, not a lot of guys actually have a chip on their shoulder like they think they do. Alex Morono. Hold on. That's not a good example. Donald Cerrone gets paired up against Conor McGregor, and there's no like. I'm sure he's like saying like, yeah, I know the UFC sets me up to lose, but I got a chip on my sleeve. No, you don't. You're lying. GM3 versus Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev. The UFC did this something they've never done before and will never do again, probably. which is they publicly announced that after GM3 and Hamzat fight, Hamzat is going to fight Damian Maia before the GM3 fight even took place because they're expecting him to lose. By the way, I don't know which fight I have to get to before I can talk about this. It is really stupid that in this sport people are set up to fail, right? Like ideally that just shouldn't happen. If you need to be fighting Alex Morono to get your cool highlight that the UFC can put on your little intro as you walk out, but we don't see the walkout anyways because it's a huge fucking Paramount ad about some movie nobody's gonna ever fucking watch, then you're not that good, right? Like, can we just acknowledge that? Is Daniil Donchenko even that fucking good? I don't know. Is Nikolai Varetnikov that good? No, no. I don't give a fuck he finished Nico Price. Who cares? Who's gonna look at Nikolai Varetnikov finished Nico Price in round 1? Wow, amazing, brother. This guy's gonna go so far in UFC. I think he's top 5 welterweight. No, nobody fucking cares. They're gonna look at his record and be like, okay, yeah, this dude lost to a bunch of people I don't know, and then beat a bum, beat an old dying man on his deathbed. That's not interesting. I'm so tired of it. The worst part is that far too often we don't even see the good finish anyways. Okay, I'm gonna wind myself all the way back and talk about Marc-Andre Barriault again, right? Where I was going with this is that it seemed like he was set up to fail, and in reality, most people who are set up to fail give up. They just do. Like, what the fuck do they have to prove? They already know they're gonna lose. But Mikhail looked very good in round 1. Dude, this guy's so interesting to me. He's fat, but he's not. He's just got like weird proportions where like fat is just exclusively on his fucking belly. And it's not his fault per se. Like I wonder what the most shredded this guy has ever looked. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. What the fuck? Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. What the fuck, Prince? No. God damn. Hold on. And then weigh in. Still no abs. Has he talked about this? Has he talked about why he is like at most an ab? I'm assuming it's just like fat composition, right? You can't control that. It's entirely genetic. Because he used to fight at light heavyweight, right? So if he's not at middleweight, it's not like he would ever make welterweight. And he's not a big middleweight. He's not a fat middleweight. And his arms are like pretty small. And I don't mean this to be mean, obviously. Like the dude's fucking like he's got crazy power. But for a dude with crazy power, his arms are kind of small. He's got a very strange build. I just love the way he punches. The way he throws his left hand is so nice. The way he blocks is like very sick. The way he like really tries to work the liver, because if you're left-handed, that gives you full liver access, and not a lot of guys work that. I can just really appreciate it. He gassed in round 2 so fucking bad. And you know what? I actually had agreed with his corner. Because his corner said the body shot isn't working. It's not doing anything to him. I thought that. I thought like, is it worth playing the body shot game against Barriault, right? Like, how much is Barriault going to slow down for it to be worth it, considering the energy expenditure of landing on him? So, if somebody's cardio is so crazy, if somebody's cardio is up here, your cardio is like here, you're wasting a body shot to drop them down. Right? So you're both losing a little, you're both sapping each other a little bit. But no matter what, this dude's still going to have like the same relative amount of energy over you. However, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Like, I mean, eventually they just even each other out. Mikhail didn't like force a finish in round 1, which is pretty nice to see. But he did not force a finish. He definitely wanted it. I definitely thought it was going to happen. Marc-Andre Barriault's chin held up very, very well. I like that he didn't necessarily try to like win round 1 because like he knew he fucking lost it anyways. But just shelling against the fence probably wasn't a good idea, right? Did he need Mikhail to gas before he could safely clinch him? I don't think so. Especially because we saw how his chin held up. And that was at Mikhail's range, where Mikhail was landing like the best shot he could, and it still wasn't really putting Barriault away. I feel like Barriault probably would have been fine to clinch, and maybe could have won the fight, honestly. I have no idea. But anyways, the body shots did end up working, though. Because in round 3, despite after, 2 rounds of seeming like didn't do shit, right? Because Oleksiejczuk was gassed, and Barriault seemed like he was on a 5th wind, because that's just how Power Bar works. Power Bar is a funny name. It's better than Protein Bar. I feel like Power Bar works way better. He just fades. And he didn't, it's hard to say that he looked super gassed. Like, he didn't look like as tired as he moved like he did. He wasn't like open mouth like but dude, Oleksiejczuk just teed off on him. It was just like a repeat of the first round. Okay. Sorry, let me go back to my takeaways from this. Barrio can still win a fight or two. He really can. Oleksiejczuk is good, but until he can like really work on that cardio, I think he just kind of would eventually get melted by a lot of guys. I think this version of Oleksiejczuk beats Sharmagomedov because I don't think Sharmagomedov is very good. I think this version of Oleksiejczuk would beat Kevin Holland. Right? He fucking hammered Kevin Holland, and then Kevin Holland threw an armbar, but Oleksiejczuk didn't tap and he didn't verbally submit. It was weird, and his arm also wasn't broken. Lost to Michel Pereira. I bet Oleksiejczuk against Michel Pereira. What was he? Plus 125 underdog. That was it. He should have been like plus 300. Pereira was on a tear at that point as well. If you remember, this was his fucking win rate, his win streak. He was on like he beat Salim Imadaev, Cass Williams, Nico Price, Andre Fialho, Santiago Ponzinibbio, Andre Petrowski, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk at that point, bro, had literally 0 good wins. Other than Modestus wasn't even in the UFC back then. Other than Chidi and Jaquani, who isn't that good, as much as I love him, right? Very strange that he was only plus 125. That's irrelevant. My point is, I bet on him because I was like, dude, his body shots he was landing on Kaio, those would do damage to somebody else. Didn't matter. Michel Pereira just fucking like standing rear naked choked him. It was bad. But I think he would beat him in a rematch. Does he beat Kyle Bahalio in a rematch? No. Justin Jacoby. No. These are light heavyweight fights. I don't care. I do think he's revitalized. I think he technically, I can't say he's like improved a ton. I don't really know. He's just more in the fucking game. He's more focused. He follows a game plan. He's in better shape. If you remember when he was fighting Sharmagomedov, he didn't even have a camp. He was like very publicly like, I'm depressed. I'm not training much. And he still took the shower fight on short notice. Because he's awesome. But that's not the kind of shit that usually wins you fights. But eventually just turned it around after training with Kaio and managed to rack up a good win streak. I don't know how well Michel Pereira does against like the top 15 middleweight division. Here, let me look. That's fun, right? I should be doing this. Here, I'll start with Kyoji Horiguchi. Wait, why do I have to start with Kyoji Horiguchi? He's already number fucking 5. I think he beats Brandon Royval. I think he beats Tyra. I think he beats Cape. I think he maybe loses to Pantoja. I think he beats Van. I think Moreno would be a tough fight for Horiguchi because Moreno could just do that gameplay. Who else fought? But Mario Bautista, that's right, bantamweight. Where is he right now? Number 9. He beats Marlon Vera, beats Figgy, beats Ayman Zahabi, beats Song Yadong, beats Cory Sandhagen. Maybe is never going to fight Sean O'Malley because they're training partners, but I think Sean O'Malley would beat him. Is Mario Bautista going to beat Umar in a rematch? Yes. Yes, he is. Because Umar, when Umar isn't winning in the way that he wants to win, he will only... Actually, Umar's declining. Oh my god, fuck. No, Umar is like actually declining. I think his Team Habib, or whatever the fuck they are, I think they're fucking him up. I think Umar is a striker. I think Umar is a striker. I don't think you guys realize that like Umar is like that good of a striker. The threat of the takedown. Everybody in the bantamweight division has the threat of the takedown, except for Sean O'Malley. So I don't care about the threat of the takedown. They're all wrestlers. Umar Nurmagomedov would outstrike Merab, would outstrike Cory Sandhagen, did outstrike Cory Sandhagen, Song Yadong, Ayman, Figgy, Vera, Bautista, Vinicius, Rapont, Kyler Phillips, Montel Jackson. That is the vast majority of the top 15. He could win all of those fights shooting like one takedown and just striking the rest of the time. I really think that. And I think his team's fucking him up by saying only wrestle, because I think wrestling gasses him out a little bit. And it's really hard to fucking wrestle with these dudes that constantly scramble. So he's not Merab, so he can't capitalize, right? He shoots a takedown, he gets it, he can only hold top now, right? How many times can he Jelton Almeida Mario Bautista before Mario Bautista beats him, right? This is how many times can Francis Ngannou fight a bear before eventually Ngannou wins. The problem is bears are retarded and people aren't. And Umar is not a person. And Mario Bautista, okay, sorry. I think you get what I'm saying. That just eventually Mario Bautista will become a version of himself that beats Umar. And I don't think Umar is getting better. I think he's actually getting worse. Because he's not striking as much anymore. And that's half the sport. That's half his game is striking. He's not a wrestler. Okay. Winding myself back down. Dude, I did all that and I didn't. Okay, let me talk about Mikhail at fucking middleweight versus. Okay, Bruno Ferreira. I think Mikhail could beat him. Joe Pyfer. You know what? I actually think Mikhail could beat Joe Pyfer. I don't think Joe Pyfer could push the pace at all on him. I think he would gas. I mean, we saw how low output he gets against people with good chins, and Mikhail is a really fucking good guard. He is only getting hit clean in those like clinch shots, clinch exchanges. Gregory Rodriguez. Mikhail sleeps his ass. Paulo Costa. Mikhail and Paulo have a really close fight where I think maybe Paulo would be able to edge it out just by, in the same way he edged out Kopylov, just by like kind of being, it'd be like an awkward southpaw fight. No. Mikhail beats Paulo Costa. Kopylov struggles with southpaws. That's like a different thing. Kopylov struggles with Costa style. I think Mikhail would have a lot of the free open space that he really likes to be able to land, and I feel like he'd land on Costa too much. Delinsey could beat him. Delinsey's weird. He's so hard to fucking predict. He's a strong jiu-jitsu guy. They don't make sense. Jared Cannonier, Mikhail sleeps him. Robert Whitaker, Mikhail sleeps him. Yes. In a 5-round fight. In a 3-round, Robert probably tees off on him. Why do I think that? Sorry, I just think if you gave him 5 rounds, dude, his chin. I don't even want to talk about it. I love Rob. I miss him. I miss when he was a person. I miss when he was good at fighting. Why do I have to say person? He's still a human being, even if he's chinny. Even if he's really chinny. All right. RDR. RDR probably beats Mikhail. Like, very good chance. Mikhail could win. Kyle Bahalio kind of beats him. Israel Adesanya beats him. Brendan Allen beats him. Anthony Hernandez beats him. Sean Strickland beats him. He just has a better guard, and he just, despite being a low output guy himself, or at least low damage output, I feel like he would just easily fucking evade all of Mikhail Alexeyevich strikes, and then he would just like jab him up and like maybe even like finish him in round 5. Imavov beats him. Trikas beats him. Hamza beats him. So if the question is, what does Mikhail have to do with the fighting nerds to get better? Cardio and using his right hand. He has awesome left hand. He doesn't need an equally awesome right hand, but he needs to do stuff. He needs to be able to like throw up jabs that are like convincing. He needs to be able to throw a stiff jab so that way he can throw a fake jab and then follow up with the left hand. Right? You get it, right? You get what I'm saying. He just needs to be able to do more. He needs more skill. As fucking rudimentary as it is to say he needs more skill. Farid Basharat versus John Matsumoto. This was almost a fucking robbery. This was the clearest 2-1 for Farid Basharat. Farid Basharat looked really good. I think. How good is John Matsumoto's wrestling? Do we have an answer to that? I mean, we know it's good, right? But how is it compared to top bantamweights? I don't know. Because Farid Basharat was... Okay. Think about it this way. Damon Blackshear out-wrestled Yusuf Zalal, who got out-wrestled by Ili Topuria. And Farid Basharat out-wrestled Damon Blackshear. And Damon Blackshear was really fucking competitive and maybe beat Mario Bautista like Loki. Farid Basharat's really good. So John Matsumoto's wrestling is good, but I also think Farid maybe wasn't prepared for the takedowns. Is that cope? No, that's cope. If you're training wrestling, you're training both. And Farid was able to take down Taylor Lapilus, who his entire game is avoiding being taken down. Yeah, dude, Farid is really fucking good. His jab was so money. His strikes, his head movement was so like, it was so short. Right, the issue with Cody Brundage against Cameron Rouston, because everybody remembers that fight because we all loved it so much. I'm spinning around in my chair right now. The issue is that Cody Brundage was making the most ridiculous fucking head movement that made everything so obvious. A lot of fighters do this. Even good fighters do this. They can't be subtle with their head movement. They have to fucking disappear off screen. Whereas Farid can throw, and he knows how long John Matsumoto's arms are, which is not very long. I think John Matsumoto, like Loki, has kind of a short reach, right? He's a 68-inch reach. Miles Johns, who also has a very short reach, has a 68-inch reach. So there we go. How long is Farid's reach? 68 and a half. Whoa! That's John Matsumoto. I should have realized I was looking at a Brazilian man. Yes, 71-inch. Okay, thank God. I'm not fucking crazy. So I think, yeah, but anyways, like being able to make the read of like how long the reach is to be able to just pull like at the right distance so you can fire right back is just so nice, right? When you're constantly evading, it's so hard to throw back. unless you're like in the right range, right? That's what made Conor McGregor so great. Now, Fareed has power. He can wrestle, yada, yada, yada. His cardio is really good. I don't like. Not that I don't like. His boxing was good. It was just, it could use more. It could use a hook, right? As simple, I guess, as that is, right? He could just use a fucking hook at the end of his combinations. I believe that wasn't him. Mikhail threw a teep that I really liked, but I would like Fareed teeped, right? I would like if he threw a few more kicks. But he's really good. I think he can go very far. Let's do the rankings. Bantamweight. Beats Montel. Beats Kyler. Beats Font. Loses to Payne Talbot. Beats Oliveira. Loses to David Martinez. Oh, him versus Bautista would be really, like, genuinely insanely close, but I think Bautista would muscle him. And I think Bautista would be able to just win those grappling exchanges and end up on top. Beats Marlon Vera. Fareed would. Fareed would beat Figgy. Fareed would beat Zahabi. Fareed would beat Song Yadong. Song Yadong would be really competitive, actually, because there's not like a crazy reach discrepancy, but I feel like Fareed would be able to move enough. Cory would beat him. Sean, Umar, Marab, and Jan would beat him. At least the version of him that we see now. He called out Davidson Figueiredo. That's very lame, by the way. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, okay. Wait, did he call out Davison? Or did fucking Bautista? No, Bautista called out Sandhagen. Oh my god. See, Bautista called out like a fucking tough fight. Fareed wants a finish, right? He wants to fight Figgy, and he's like, oh, I'll just submit him, or I'll TKO him. And then it's like, okay, yeah, you're already going to be minus 800. We're expecting you to get the finish now. And then he's not going to get the finish, and then it's like, it's like, do I care? Yeah, congrats, dude. You're top 5, but nobody knows who you are. I'd much rather he just fought fucking Vinicius Oliveira, or like, one of those fights where it's like, this guy's kind of dangerous, and he beats the guy who's kind of dangerous that people know, and nobody's gonna care if he beats Figgy, right? If Montel Jackson beat Figueiredo, crazy he didn't. Jesus Christ. Oh, isn't that tragic? But if Montel Jackson beats Figueiredo by a lame, boring decision, who fucking cares? All right, Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Yeah, whatever, right? Let me talk about more of my bets. I bet most of my money on Kyoji and Oleg Chichek. I bet them both money line. I bet them in a parlay of each other, and I had a very big parlay of Bautista, Kyoji, Gelson Almeida, Oleg Chichek, Fareed, Donchenko, Varetnikov, both Basharats, Kong Wang, and Viklach. Except right before the Almeida fight, I cashed out because I realized, like, I don't know if I trust this guy. So technically, I had no money on Almeida except for like a tiny amount on a round 1 submission. Holy yawn. Oh my god. Dude, Jacoby Julius Walker. That's what I was on. It is 3:40 a.m. So right after this, I'm gonna have to continue doing another hour of my UFC Aura tier list. I don't know if I've told you guys. I'm doing an Aura tier list based on the entire UFC roster, which is hundreds of fighters. And the worst part is that I know almost all of them by name. Not fun. A lot of guys are D tier. I won't lie, because they don't have fucking Aura. So I might have to split up, may have to add more divisions to that. But I've only been doing that at 4 a.m. That's like kind of the gimmick, is that I'm exclusively fucking dead tired and like borderline manic because of it every time. Anyways, Jacoby versus Julius Walker. God, something come to me, some kind of speech, some kind of something to say. I like Julius Walker. He's from like Springfield, Missouri, or whatever. He's from a nowhere place. He has no training partners that are his size because he's fucking Julius Walker. He's a basketball player. His nickname's Juicebox. That's awesome. I like that he's a clinch fighter. I think he looked cool against Alonzo Manafield, and Loki may have arguably won that fight. Fight against Rafael Sakura was like a little, like, that's not good. You should be able to fucking kill him. And against Jacoby, my first thought was, oh, Jacoby's gonna dust him up. No, but then I was like, you know what? What does Jacoby look like when he's constantly forced to clinch fight? The answer is, when Jacoby's forced to clinch fight, he looks bad, but it doesn't matter because the second round starts, he can just sleep. He can just sleep him. Julius Walker has no chance, and man, he can't box. He has no boxing defense. He's too old to learn. He's talented physically, not talented enough. Do I have enough sips of my Gatorade to ale my sore throat? I have to decide if I still need water. Yo, do I still need throat? Ooh, oh my god, what was in that? All right. We learned nothing from either of these guys except Julius Walker is bad. We didn't learn anything about Justin Jacoby. His wrestling stood up, but yeah, you could just hold him against the fence if you wanted to. Low key. Daniil Donche. Okay, and has Jacoby developed power? No, he's just fighting chinny guys. Right? Like Alonzo Metafield. Dude, he couldn't KO Alonzo Metafield. How different would his career trajectory be if he got the win he should have gotten over Khalil Rountree? Ah, isn't that sad? He's 37. Good for him, I guess. But he could be doing even better. His nickname's cool, the Hanyak. He fought Alex Pereira in kickboxing. You guys know that? He got slept. I think he fought him twice. I think he got slept both times. All right. Daniil Dunchiko versus Alex Moreno. I did not watch the Ultimate Fighter season. I have seen maybe 2 Ultimate Fighter seasons. I did not get any fucking value out of watching those because it's a terrible product for so many different reasons. They have terrible talent, like 10 times worse than the Contender Series. The premise is like kind of boring. They never show any of the fucking training sessions. They just show like them like being force fed alcohol, so they're worse at fighting. They all have to weight cut 10 times. Half the guys aren't fighting in their natural weight class because they really want to make it to the UFC. None of these guys are interesting personalities because they're all American, right? They're all American or they're all like that's not the point. The point isn't that they're all American. The point is just that they're all from like bumfuck nowhere places with no education. So like they just don't know how to say anything. They don't know how to be anything. They don't know how to mean anything. They all think they're like, you know what's fucking crazy is that like all those people from bum like middle of nowhere towns. I have an audience. I have an audience. At least 3 people are gonna get this far into the video. I want you to know, you 3 people, that I find life beautiful, and I genuinely do see a very fascinating beauty in like these middle of nowhere places. I've stopped by a few on like road trips and stuff, and it's been a very fascinating experience. I don't think of them as lesser thans or whatever. I know a lot of very smart and bright people can come out of those places. However, they don't have schools, and they're all stupid. Sorry, a lot of them are dumb. They don't have good educations. Um, and by being dumb, not in the virtue of not having a good education, your life is going to be really simple, and you're going to spend most of your time watching Instagram reels. Right? Bryce Mitchell, I'm sure does a lot of farm work, but when he's not doing farm work, he's sitting on his ass, playing with his balls, and watching Instagram reels about like the. Oh, okay, I'm gonna cut that out. Listen, not that I think, like, I mean that in like a not good way, right? Like in a my point. I don't mean I'm not saying he's right to be doing that, or right to like, whatever. Oh my god, who fucking cares? I don't fucking care. He's Bryce Mitchell. My point is that he's retarded. Why would I? Why do I have to defend or agree with him? The whole point is that he's a dumb guy, and that the Ultimate Fighter sucks because it's full of dumb guys. That was the entire point. That's it. Anyways, I didn't watch the season. Daniil Danchenko, never heard of him. Somebody said he's got cool striking, and I found out he trains with the other 2 Ukrainian guys who are decent. Yaroslav Amasov and someone else. Not Nikita Krylov, because that dude is like a terrorist, like actually a fucking terrorist. Nikita Krylov is a terrorist and should be cut from the UFC immediately. But anyways, Daniil Danchenko versus Alex Moreno. Alex Moreno has a good chin. He's very tough. But Moreno's a tough out. He had a really good fight with Joaquin Buckley. He's always had tough fights with everybody. He was 2 rounds on Santiago Ponzinibbio before Ponzinibbio just landed a shot that just fucking shut his lights. Not his lights. Fucking snipped some wires is what it did. And Alex Moreno was like short circuiting. It was crazy. Now Daniil looked good. The low kicks looked good. But did he look good? He was getting timed with the uppercut, but that's fine. You know, like Moreno has a good chin, right? If you have a good chin and you have a brain, Alex Moreno does have a brain, uh, then you can eventually just make the reads. You'll have enough time in there to make the reads because you have a good chin, which means you're going to stay in there. Daniil gassed out trying to finish him. He did look really good in the beginning. Him gassing out was kind of very scary, but he did bounce back. It's just that he didn't bounce back. He just stood still like this. Wait, that reminds me of something. This reminds me of something. Yes, it was what would my advice to Alex Moreno have been in the corner? Because I always do this. I'm like every single round, I'm like, what would I tell these guys? I think what you tell Alex Moreno is that this isn't a boxing match. And I don't mean like, oh, this is an MMA fight. No, I mean like, stop being a boxer. Be a Muay Thai fighter. Hey, Alex Moreno, be a Muay Thai fighter. That sounds stupid. But think about it, right? The whole time he's fucking standing there like circling, popping the jab out, which isn't doing anything and not landing. And all he's doing is like kind of just gassing himself out on a sitting duck. And it's because he's like, I don't know, he's just like committed to this like circle around and box him up game. But Daniil was fucking, again, a sitting duck by round 2 and 3. He wasn't going to do anything to him. Like, he wasn't going to do anything special to him if Almirano stood still. All Almirano was doing was just making the leg kicks easier to land. If he made this in Muay Thai fight and he was checking the fucking low kicks and was sitting down on his punches instead of, like, punching while moving, I think he could have had a fair shot. He just wasn't able to do any damage. Daniil has an insane chin. He has grit. He's creative. His shot selection is fine, but he's too damn slow is what he is. He's slow. His punches are kind of just slow. His leg kicks are, I mean, they landed. It's just, I don't think Daniil Donchenko does anything particularly well in against these top 15 welterweights. Does he beat MVP? Hell no. Does he beat D-Rod? Yes. Does he beat Colby Covington? Yes. Does he beat Jeff Neal? Yes. Does he beat Gabriel Bonfim? Yes. Does he beat Gilbert Burns? Yes. Does he beat... Okay, I changed my mind. I guess he's good. This division fucking sucks. I love welterweights. The top 5, top 10 even, awesome. Everybody else, get out of here. Alex Morono, again, this fight shouldn't have happened. It should have been Alex Morono versus Barrio or something. I don't know. I don't know how they do that. Should have been Alex Morono, Nico Price. Has that fight probably already happened? Yes. Don't care. Should have done it again. On to Nico Price. So Veretnikov is good at striking. Can't grapple. Literally can't grapple. And he's not that good at striking. I don't care about this KO. Like, this is fucking stupid. I don't want to talk about this. Fuck you. All right, Kevin Souza versus Bruno Brazil. Bruno Brazil did nothing in this fight, and I was playing Megabok, which is a $7 roguelite on Steam. It's kind of weird because it's like, it seems like one of those games that where you're playing it and you're like, yes, this is objectively worse than like every other game in its genre, but for some reason I like it. I like Megabok because it's easy. It's like a 3D thing, so maybe it's a little bit more engaging than like 2D roguelites. It's just easy. It's so easy to get into. Anyways, that fight happened. I don't care. Nobody cares. It sucks. They're both bad. Oh god, I wish Luma Lukbume was good. Why did Bruno Brazil lose to Luma Lukbume? Win against Luma Lukbume, I mean. That's so bad. Bruno Brazil lost to Luma Lukbume? Oh, dude, that was a fucking robbery. I don't even need to look up like fan scorecards. That was a robbery. That's crazy. I misremembered the fight so bad. Anyways, Javid Bashharat versus Johnny Vasquez. How did Vasquez beat David Martinez? Chin was something. It wasn't terrible, but like I didn't like that he fucking was getting rocked by Javid Bashharat of all people. Javid Bashharat is the worst brother. There's two brothers. There's always a worse brother. Javid Bashharat is not only the worst brother, but he's also the ugly brother. That must suck. He's chinny. Which makes me think maybe Fareed is chinny. So I'm gonna like, I may be like trying to fade Fareed in the future with like, loses by KO props. By the way, when I had bet Javid versus John Matsumoto, I bet Javid moneyline or John Matsumoto by finish, because I just felt like even though John Matsumoto, yes, he had like almost all decisions except like a submission on Nick Aguirre. If he was going to win, it was going to be like you're down to do everything, and then he wins at round 3, or get the sub or clips him, and maybe he has the same chin as Javid. So I guess I'll try to bet against him on that. Johnny Vasquez, I mean, he doesn't seem bad, right? There's probably some bantamweights. No, there's definitely some bantamweights he beats. The thing is, he's not a fucking bantamweight. He's a flyweight. I think he'd probably look very good at flyweight. I really mean that. Lost to Edgar Shires round 4 armbar. Edgar Shires is so fucking underrated. You have no idea. Edgar Shires' only losses are to Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira. Maybe the two best flyweights in the UFC. Edgar Shires is really fucking good, and we're going to see it when he murders Felipe Bunes if he doesn't get chinned. Because Felipe Bunes has, like, sleeper power. Dude, I never want to be... Artem MMA? He has, like, 10,000 subscribers. Gets, like... No, maybe it's more. Fuck, no, he has, like, 10k subs. He's been making videos for 6 years. And he can't get into the algorithm. And all his videos are like, he's the regional MMA guy. If you want to know about like this dude who's debuting his entire like LFA career, and he's like now debuting on the UFC, you go to Artem MMA, and that's awesome. But I can't believe he hasn't fucking capitalized on that niche. Anyways, my point is, I never want to be the dude who's talking about Gianni Vasquez. I don't. If he becomes something, I'll enjoy talking about him more. But for now, it's I think he can do good at flyweight, but I don't want to talk about regional fights. I just don't want to be that guy right now. I can't afford to be that guy. I need money. Well, I need subscribers. And then I need money. I need to start selling my bets. I do very good. Anyways, Wang Kong versus Eduardo Mora. I want you to all to know that there are four extremely famous UFC Chinese fighters. Two of them are named Zhang, and the other two are named Wang and Dong. Anyways, yeah, she won. Eduardo Mora kind of looks like Trisha Paytas, the fucking Instagram fat person. um, do I have any thoughts? I don't. Kong Wang's grappling looked okay. Like, yes, she can survive on the ground, but it was like awfully close, dude. Cool that she can grit through. Power looks okay. She's not going to be sleeping many other people unless she matches against like Chanel Cachoeira. Is Cachoeira if flyweight? No. Wang Kong should move up a division for one fight to just sleep Priscilla and get like a highlight. Anyways, Jakub Viklac versus Muin Gafurov. Muin Gafurov is someone I hate, and it's not his fault. Sorry, someone I hated. I think I've actually learned to really like him after this fight. I was very fucking pissed that he beat Rinya Nakamura. I had nothing against him elsewise. Dude, split loss to Chad Anheliger. How good was prime Chad Anheliger? Unironically, Chad Anheliger is the guy that got me into MMA. This is what I mean when I say like it's important to talk about guys that you won't remember, like other people won't remember. This guy got me into the sport. He's like very cool. He's had like some very like sick looking fights. He's just been muscled around the grappling though lately. Anyways, Muin versus Jakub. I bet this. I got this from Lucrative MMA. He's an iffy better. He sometimes does really good. Sometimes he does really bad. And whenever he does bad, he will say, technically we did still profit because on my little side bet thing, I actually said that I'll bet plus 500 or I'll bet 500 units on Volkanovski by round 4 flying Kimura. And everybody's like, okay, yeah, but you didn't put that as like you didn't list that. You just put that as like to do this for fun. And then he still says he like profited even if like all his main like core bets or whatever lost. It's silly. Guy's not dumb though. Guy's not fucking dumb. And he knows this shit. He's just like sometimes he makes bad bets. Everybody makes bad bets. But like definitely scammer. But if hopefully when I have my own like subscription betting service or whatever, where I will charge people literally like $1 a month to get my bets, I will be scamming the fuck out of them. I'm scamming the fuck out of you. Some dude commented on my last video like, bro, remember me when you get big. Brother, I'm scamming you. Anyways, Jakub Viklac versus Muin Gafurov. How many times am I going to say this? His nickname is just Tajik because he's from Tajikistan. That's all right. Fight was sick. Jakub is just mini RDR. I liked his body work. The problem is it didn't seem to do anything. This is the thing, I guess, with body shots that I'm just a dumbass and I don't have the Joe Rogan sense where I can go, this guy's really hurt from those body shots, man. The only time I've ever noticed an injury was when like Gamrot broke his hand against fucking Benil. I felt like that was pretty obvious. But anyways, I think Muin looked pretty good. Like his cardio was very impressive. He honestly could have won the fight. He just made a few mistakes. He spun that one time and got his back taken and almost subbed. Oh, sorry, the lucrative MMA bet I followed. Dude, guys, I have ADHD. Is this not obvious? The lucrative MMA bet that I followed was like the free one he put on his YouTube. I have used his subscription service before. Bro, he lost for like 6 months in a row. Anyways, it was fight does not go the distance. Sweated that one. And it was Wiklach sub and Wiklach sub round 2. And he did lock up that fucking rear naked choke and a guillotine that like both looked they could have been tight for a second in round 2. So like props to that pick. And I did end up roughing. Although I did also hedge with Muin Gafurov KO because I genuinely felt like that was very, very likely. And you know what? Very much almost happened. Wiklach has a crazy chin. Wiklach slowed down. Oh, what? Do I need the fucking play-by-play? Do you want play-by-play? I can give you play-by-play if you want it, but somebody's going to have to ask for it in the comments. Otherwise, I'm not going through the fucking effort. Gafurov would swarm him. Wiklach would... They'd somehow end up... Gafurov would swarm him and then clinch him because that's just what he's used to doing. His corner would scream, no! And then he'd go for a takedown anyways, and then he'd get reversed, and then Wiklach would have a mounted guillotine. Wiklach's reverses, his scrambles, I think deadass. Wiklach could like very much like beat Merab. I genuinely think that. I don't think I wouldn't pick him, right? Because the cardio thing is just really bad. And Merab was also in Gafurov's corner. He would know exactly what to do, which is to just fucking swarm him and then not end up in stupid exchanges. The problem is Merab is stupid himself, so he would probably go for a takedown, yada yada yada. I think Wiklach, who is not old, right? Isn't he like 29. Yeah, he's got time. He could get a little bit better, and he only needs to get a little bit better to finish those submissions. Because my my meta one day I would like to be a coach for MMA. As crazy as it sounds, as much of a pipe dream as it is. But I will be telling everyone that I coach, guys. If the submission isn't locked up in the first second of you trying to lock it up, don't like just fucking bail on it. Right? Never hold on to a submission that isn't there. At 1 in 100 times will someone hold on to a sub, it's not tight for 5 seconds, and then like the guy manages to tighten it. The thing is, Wiglatch can he locks it up really fast. So he's a guy who's almost there, is what I'm saying. He's almost there in a lot of these finishes, and he's still getting them. And I think he will. I think he could win a lot of fights in the future. It's just his striking is really bad, and dude, he could have fucking lost this. By the way, like on the decision, he could have lost this. So if this had gone to a decision, he had zero urgency to wrestle. Fuck, he's gonna lose a lot of fights if he doesn't change that. Sigurla Cachoeira, who cares? No, genuinely, who the fuck cares? It's a little late. Time for me to fucking do an hour of an Aura tier list while I'm sleep deprived. I'm gonna get water before I do that. I wish the genuine best of luck to all of you. I thought it was so awesome that I got like a bunch of subscribers on my last video. I doubt that there will be many people who are gonna get to the end of this. I'm gonna have to remember to censor that thing I said after Bryce Mitchell. I think that was the 57-minute mark, if I remember correctly. But I appreciate it. It's so cool. I love this. This is all genuinely like this has kind of been my dream for like years. It's just to do this. I know I don't even have like 100 subscribers, but I will. I will, and that'll be fucking awesome. And I will never stop. Until I literally can't. Until I physically can't. I will be replying to every comment and engaging with people and doing as much as I can to like have a community because I think that is awesome. And yeah, yeah. Sorry. Best of luck to you guys. Sorry if the start to my videos are always like a little slow. I gotta warm up into the talking. I'm not used to this. Anyways, all right, guys.